Joining us now, NewsNation senior political contributor George Will. Mr. Will, nice to have you here on the Hill. Appreciate the time, sir. It is always fascinating to see you and speak with you. How did we get here on the economic front?
It's a good question, because traditional conservatives who believe that markets rather than government should decide winners and losers, should allocate wealth and opportunity, traditional conservatives don't have a candidate this year. Kamala Harris has a traditional understanding from the progressive point of view, that government ought to put its thumb on the scale and pick winners and losers and have what the progressives call an industrial policy. You expect that. What you really don't expect is the Republican candidate to do this. Now, the Republican candidate, Mr. Trump, says he wants to cut the corporate income tax. That's fine, because really corporations don't pay taxes, they collect them. And corporations, what they pay in taxes either is money that otherwise would have gone to cheaper products for consumers, rewards to shareholders, or higher pay for their employees. But Mr. Trump has an enormous government intervention in the economic life of the country with his proposal for tariffs on everything imported. Mr. Trump will tell you that the countries exporting to the United States, not just goods from China, but whiskey from Scotland, cheese from France, right, leather goods from Italy, that Italy, France, and Scotland or Britain are paying those. I don't know a single economist anywhere who believes that Americans will pay the additional cost of the goods and services that tariffs impose.
Mr. Will, it is clearly silly season right now with 42 days to go until the election, especially on the economic side. The reality, though, is the tax code needs a rewrite next year. Whoever wins, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, whoever controls Washington, Democrats, Republicans, or a mix, they're going to take up the tax code next year. For example, here's some of what's expiring: a reduction of the income tax rates, the adjusted tax brackets, the doubling of the child tax credit. We've heard lots about that. The estate tax, limits on state and local tax deduction, and mortgage interest deduction. So there is a lot to take up. And I wonder, Mr. Will, if you think that once we get past the election and the lawmakers actually have to sit down and deal with this stuff, if reality will set in and they'll be able to get some of this under control, or if silly season continues into next year.
Well, if by reality setting in, you mean either candidate becomes president and they begin to worry about the exploding deficit. Remember, we're adding $1 trillion to the deficit with full employment, with steady economic growth in every 8 or 9 months now. Vice President Harris has pledged that even though much of this law will expire, she doesn't want anyone paying, any household with an income under $400,000 a year, we're talking about 93% of the country, to pay any more. So she's going to want enormous parts of that law that's expiring to be extended and not expire. Mr. Trump has changes, but he wants to, again, lower the corporate tax, and he wants to extend the whole thing. I don't think that will happen, but we're going to have an argument basically at the margins, because neither candidate wants 92% of the American people to have a tax increase in their first year in office.
I only have about a minute left with you, sir. We have a race that's seemingly heads or tails, coin flip, 50-50, and it could go either way. What is the one thing that you think Donald Trump needs to do to break through? What is the one thing you think Kamala Harris needs to do to break through?
I think Kamala Harris has to satisfy the growing feeling in the country that she's skating fast on thin ice, because she hasn't answered a lot of questions. She answers almost any question about the economy or nuclear weapons or anything else by saying, I'm a middle-class kid, okay? That won't do for the rest of this campaign. Mr. Trump has to show that he's got more on his mind than grievances about 2020, name-calling and insults for Kamala Harris, and something fresh and new to tell the country. If you listen to his speeches, it's a recitation of golden oldies. So both candidates have gone about as far as they can go with their current themes, and they need some fresh material.
George Will, always fascinating to hear from you, sir. We'll talk again to you. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.